Gary Gibbon reporting when our senior police officers faced tough questioning today about their failure to uncover the full scale of the phone hacking scandal. Called to account before MPs, they expressed their regrets, went on the offensive too, accusing News International of failing to cooperate with the original inquiry. Our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis was there.
Scotland Yard's embarrassment over the handling of the hacking affair deepened today, as some of the most senior figures in British policing from the last decade appeared before Parliament. Their evidence at times was dismissed as unconvincing, their competence, motives, even personal lives questioned. And for one former assistant commissioner who'd been in overall charge of the original hacking investigation, at one point it just became too much.
Mr. Heyman, while a police officer, did you ever receive payment from any news organisation?
Good God, absolutely not. I can't believe you suggested that.
Lots of people did.
Well, come on, hang on. I'm not letting you get away with that. Absolutely no way. I can say to you...
Mr. Heyman, order.
No, come on, Chairman, that's not fair.
Order.
2 hours earlier, his old colleague John Yates had been reduced to denying he'd ever lied to Parliament. He was asked 2 years ago, following a Guardian article, to establish the facts around the hacking case. He famously concluded within 8 hours there was no new evidence to justify reopening the inquiry, a decision he described in an article 2 days ago as pretty crap.
It was an unfortunate choice of words, but it was poor.
What action are you going to be taking to try and restore public trust in the police?
Well, I must say that I think regrets are always a good start.
There were plenty of expressions of regret on offer today, but there was also, for the very first time, a detailed explanation of why that first investigation in 2006 got nowhere near identifying the true extent of the hacking. Why those 11,000 pages seized from the News of the World's private investigator were never fully analysed. And it came from this man, Peter Clarke, a former Deputy Assistant Commissioner at the Met, and in effect, the decision-maker in the original hacking investigation.
First, given the wider context of counter-terrorist operations that posed an immediate threat to the British public, when set against the criminal course of conduct that involved gross breaches of privacy, but no apparent threat of physical harm to the public, I could not justify the huge expenditure of resources this would entail over an inevitably protracted period.
So, in summary, counter-terrorism at a time we were reminded of the airline bomb plot mattered more than the invasion of privacy. They didn't apologise about that. But they did apologise today about having failed so evidently to inform many of the thousands who'd had their personal details targeted by the News of the World. But perhaps the most striking aspect of today's evidence session came not in what we learned about the police, rather in what we learned about News International in those early days of the investigation. Because it was almost as if the management board at Scotland Yard said to John Yates and Peter Clarke today, "Don't hold back anymore. Tell them what really happened." John Yates said News International hadn't cooperated until now. Peter Clarke said they'd prevaricated, obstructed and lied.
This is a global organisation with access to the best legal advice, in my view, deliberately trying to thwart a criminal investigation.
News International declined to respond to these statements. But this is the second day in a row now that Scotland Yard has accused News International of deliberate attempts to interfere with their investigations. That supposedly cosy relationship of old becomes more fragile, more toxic by the day.